Hey, y'all. How y'all doing today? I am sorry I am a minute late, but let's get into it. Welcome. I hope everybody is having a good Monday today. I am super excited to be talking to my guest today, Mr. Jamar. It's going to be a great conversation today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, y'all. Let me go ahead and add. I think it already asked them when they say it does that, but let me just double check and invite. Super excited.
What's up?
Hello, how you doing today?
Doing great. How you doing?
I am doing good. I'm super excited to get on live with you today so we can, chop it up and see, how you're doing in your life with college, your business and everything. So, we can go ahead and get into it.
Let's go.
All right, so hello everybody. Happy Monday. I am CoachLay, and today in our Career Day segment, we are talking to Mr. Jamar, who is the founder, CEO of the Root of Everything, which is a podcast that he is sharing his message of how we as individuals should find our passion in life. So without further ado, if you could, introduce yourself, add a little bit more to it, and then we can go ahead and get into the questions for today.
Got you. So I'm Jamar Root. I'm actually a senior in college at Temple University in Philadelphia. So
Okay.
I can say that my mindset has shifted a lot in the past 2 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I started Root of Everything first because one of the things I was always told was, Jamar, you're so passionate. And I didn't know what that meant yet. And when COVID-19 happened, I kind of figured out what it was, and I
Mm-hmm.
kind of figured out who I was as a person. And so I truly understood at a time about a year and a half ago that we can truly reach our full potential once we tap into the things we actually love to do, because
Mm-hmm.
there's limitless potential, limitless motivation, discipline when you actually love what you do. And so I just wanted to share that with the world. I wanted to give people advice on how to get there, because I knew I was that kid that was like, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a such a scary question we get asked. Hey, what
Yeah.
do you want to be when you grow up? Like that is the scariest question on earth for anybody before they know what it is.
Yeah.
And I just want to let people know it's okay, but here's some steps to, find some direction for yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
so once I decided to do that, I kid you not, I feel like I was just given this insight about the topic. It was just like I just indulged myself in it. And I have 10 steps to find your passion, my first season of the podcast. And then I have 5 guests on the second season that are passionate individuals where I go through their day in the life. So I go with them. I wake up in the morning and I do what they do with them. And I show how hard it is to do whatever their passion is, because I'm not passionate about it. And then after that, I interview them. So I'm all about displaying passion to people and giving you some insight on how to find your own passion.
That's what's up. I like that. So we could just go ahead and jump into that. So what made you come up with the idea to actually, follow them on their everyday,
Mhm.
journeys of what they're doing? Like what made you want to take that step with, interviewing them?
So when it comes to root of everything, and it's a passion of mine, so there's ultimate creativity with it. Like I'm the most creative person in the world when I
Mm-hmm.
actually like the topic. But I'm the dullest person in the world if I don't care. I'll be honest with you. Like
That's me too. Yeah.
there's some classes I'm taking right now where it's like, you're not getting nothing out of me. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
pass. You're not getting nothing out of me. So with root of everything, what I realized was, wow, like every moment of the day, like 10 seconds ago, I'm thinking about root of everything all the time. And so on my phone, I have hundreds of notes with just ideas that people will
Mm-hmm.
probably never see. But every now and then, one I actually put into action. I look at what could happen with it. And so those interviewing and then going to the day in the life, that's just one of those ideas I wrote down and I decided to go through with. And so I was just thinking, what's a way I can really show people like what it means to be passionate. And I
Mm-hmm.
also realized, it's an untapped thing. Like nobody is showing the actual processes. I realized social media, in all platforms, we only see the good parts. And I
Yeah.
want to show people, because for me, like I'm big on saying, live in your passion, it brings you happiness. But
Mm-hmm.
there's dark moments. And for
Yeah.
me, with root of everything and being able to speak on a camera, I couldn't do it at first. But it was because I was passionate, I was willing to go through things. So I wanted to display that with other people to show, what they go through on a daily basis and show how passionate they are. because
Mm-hmm.
one, it'll bring the reality, and two, it can show somebody like I can do that too, or it can show somebody I can find my passion too, and it's out there. And so that's what going around there and doing it. And I'm not gonna lie, I really just love putting myself out there and doing something I've never done. Like
Uh-huh.
I'll eat some sushi with some random fish. Like I'm
Ooh.
really like I really like doing stuff and trying things out. So
Mm-hmm.
that was partly that was my personality, and it was just wanting to showcase people that were passionate to inspire others.
Okay, that's what's up. So so I know you said you started your business in, you said 2020, right?
So it was right when COVID happened. So that
Okay.
was 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. So prior to that, did you know what your passion was, or did it just come at that time when, we were all locked in and not being able to, do much with our time in our lives and everything like that?
That's a great question. And so for me, I like I said, I was a senior I'm a senior in college.
Mm-hmm.
So going into college, and what I do now, I major in sports management. And the reason I majored in sports management was because ever since I was 3 years old, 2 years old, I was a kid always playing sports. I was a kid
Mm-hmm.
who loved sports. I was a kid who would talk sports from the day I was born. And so I was like, when I'm looking at majors, I'm a major in sports management. And one thing I learned, and I wrote this down in my notes today, was it was a pivotal moment in my life. So I got selected to go to this conference. It's called the Flame Program, Finding Leaders Among Minorities Everywhere. And I
Mm-hmm.
was picked, it was 30 of us out of thousands of applicants to go to the U.S. Olympic Committee's training facility and stay there for a week and
Mm-hmm.
network and be with other business professionals in the sports industry. And one thing I realized, it's a long story going short, but I realized I liked the idea of what I was doing, but I didn't like the process of what I wanted to do. And
Okay.
so from that moment on, I was like, Jamar, you just like the idea of working in sports. You don't like actually working in it. And
Mm-hmm.
so when that happened, it was a crossroads for me. I was like, what do I do? Because I was basically like, I was at the pinnacle. I got selected. I'm around all these people. But then I was like, I don't want to do this. like I don't want to do this. And so luckily, I like when COVID happened, I went into this super like awareness mode, trying to learn who I was, and I was
Mm-hmm.
able to figure that out, and I was able to indulge myself in it. And so, no, I didn't know what my passion was. I knew I was good at certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I knew, I knew I liked certain things, but I didn't go into the details of why I liked them yet. And once I went into the details of why I liked them, it led me to my passion.
I got you. I got you.
Mhm.
So, how did you get into the space of podcasting? Like, what made
Mhm.
you choose podcasting as your avenue to get your message out?
Honestly, I people told me like I've always been a speaker, like
Mm-hmm.
not literally, like I go different places, but I've always got up on stage and talked randomly. Like I've been at conferences and I've just gotten on stage and talked, or I've been places and I just start. It's just like kind of a thing, and so or in
Yeah. So you're
class,
not really shy.
I'm not really shy at all. Well,
Okay.
I'm a very shy person. I just tell myself to ignore it. That's another long story. But yeah, I just I've always just got up and talked and spoke my mind. And so
Mm-hmm.
people are always like, Jamar, you should start a podcast. You should start a podcast. I remember one time I was in a room and a guy was like, if you ever made a podcast, I would just listen to you all day. And I actually texted that guy when I started my podcast. I was like, you kind of ignited the fire. But so yeah, it was just one of those things people always told me, but then I was like, what am I going to do a podcast about?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I had, when COVID happened, I just kept thinking, and then it just passion. And then it was my last name is Root, and then it's like the root of everything is passion. And that was it.
Mm. That's what's up. And because I was just going to ask you also, how did you come up with the name, the root of everything? So that
Mm,
that makes sense that that's your last name. I like how you can tie that in as a good story for your messaging. That's what's
exactly.
up. So when you are in college, how are you helping other individuals try to find their passion in what they're doing? Because college is a place where, in a sense, everyone is kind of finding themselves and then also being on their own without parent supervision or parents telling them, or parents making the decisions for them. So,
Mhm.
how do you help your peers in that aspect?
I'm especially now that I'm a senior and last year I was a junior. I'm very like freshmen, sophomores, like just
Mm-hmm.
ask me questions. Like ask me
Gotcha.
questions. So I'm actually in another organization called Strong Men Overcoming Obstacles Through Hard Work, where I've been
Mm-hmm.
able to help and mentor lots of freshmen, sophomores, or even people in the same grade as me. Like I've always been a resource. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people. You DM me, I'm gonna answer and I'm gonna help you out. Like for the most part, and that's kind of how I've always been on campus. I've also been
Mm-hmm.
presidents of organizations. Not anymore. This year I'm focusing on my stuff, but like I've been involved in lots of organizations on campus. College is social time, but I've
Yeah.
always I've always like been a resource to people, and people know that. And it's funny you actually asked that because I was like reflecting like 4 days ago, and so online I helped a lot of people during COVID time. Like, you know what I mean? It became like a community online, but I've gotten lots of people just come up to me and like, yo, Jamar, I haven't met you yet in person. You helped me so much with this or with that, and I was like, wow, I didn't even realize, how much effect I had on people. And
Yeah.
so I just think when it comes to anywhere, you just have to be willing, and people will start to like, oh, I can ask for help with Jamar, and so I just always just kept myself open to anybody for the most part, and then in response, I just kept being a good person and I helped people.
That's what's up. So, I met you, but I kind of did not meet you.
Hmm.
But I met you through Jeremy Anderson, the
Hmm.
Next Level Speakers Conference. How did you get into that area with Jeremy? Since you are in college, and I don't know. Times have
Hmm.
changed, and when I was in college, I wasn't thinking about the other
Hmm.
things that college students are thinking about, or things that you guys that I've interviewed before, what you guys are thinking about now with college, like having your life and your process already planned out of what you want. So how did you get into that space of knowing Jeremy Anderson and wanting to go to that conference?
So for me, one thing, like again, going back on what do you want to do when you grow up? Like that's also very pressing. Like once you get out of like sophomore year of college, like you feel that
Yeah.
pressure, like especially in class. It's like, well, what area? It's like, gosh, like so
Mm-hmm.
so like for me, I kind of started tapping into the podcasting realm, and then I realized I can speak motivationally. Actually, I do another podcast with three guys that I know, and it came from me just I'm just gonna follow people that are doing the same thing as me. I'm just gonna follow them and build a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and that just happened naturally. And then I have a relationship with three guys, and we do a podcast together. It's a motivational podcast, and then from those three guys, one of the guys is in Jeremy Anderson's organization, and he went to the conference last year or like 6 months ago and loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, Jamar, you need to come. And I was trying to go to the first one, and I remember like an event happened and I couldn't go, and I was like super mad. And so I was like, I promise you I'm at the next one. So when the next one popped up, I was like, I'm there. And so it all came from me. I'm a big believer in surround yourself with like-minded people. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I realized, speaking, like that could be a career for me. Like I started realizing like you could do that. And so once I realized that, I was like, I just need a game plan. Like it's not the talent. It's not. I believe anybody can do anything they put their mind to. And
Yeah.
so it was just a moment of why not just learn. And so this whole summer for me, like this summer now, it's not the summer anymore. I'm in school, but it was just like I'm gonna learn so much stuff and then put into action this year. So when I come out and graduate, I can see what I can do. You know what I mean? And so going to that conference was kind of like give me the game and then let me just run the play and see what happens. So that's what it was.
That's what's up. I like that. And that makes a lot of sense because, since you are doing your podcast, like you said, that was a good avenue. So, as far as for your podcast, how do you set up I guess, in a sense, your topics of what you want to
Hmm.
speak to your audience about? Do you just come off the dome with it? Do you ask for questions, like, topics with your peers? How do you come up with your topics for your podcast?
Yes, I got the journal right here. So when I last summer when I decided I'm gonna do the podcast, I was like, how in the world do I like even map this out?
Mm-hmm.
And so like I was just like I cooked some bacon and eggs. I was like, let's just go outside, get some sunlight, and let's just see if you can write something down. And I swear, I don't have the original journal on me. I think it's at my home. It belongs at that home, at my back
Mm-hmm.
home in Dallas. But I basically wrote down. It just came upon me. I sat there. I was like, what, like, and then I just wrote it down. It was like 10. It was like it was like 5 steps to finding your passion at the moment. It just came
Mhm.
to me. And then I attached each of the 5 steps to a more of an abstract way to think of it. And then from there I had 10 episodes. And then every day I sat down and I would do the first episode and I would write just a full page of bullet points I felt that were on that topic. I just wrote whatever came to my mind on that topic. And then from those topics, I tried to get 3 or 4 stories from my life or examples from the world. And
Mhm.
so I would do the bullet points one day, and then the next day I would do the stories. And then I move on to the next episode. And I did that. So it's like 10 episodes twice. That's like 20 days. And then I
Mhm.
would do it all over again. I would do it all over again. And then I did it all over again. So that was like 60 days. And then from there, I made this journal where I took all 3 of those journals and then perfected it into like just like six or seven bullet points. And then when I had the podcast, I would just have the 6 or 7 bullet points right there, and I'd go off on those topics. And so, like, I remember my dad was talking to me. He was like, "Jamar, you're not making a podcast. You're writing a book." And so, and so I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right." So like for right now, like I'm gonna eventually write a book on this. I have 4 journals full of notes with stories that I didn't use in because the podcast, I don't want to go over 20-30 minutes because I know my who my audience is, and they're not watching
Mhm.
or listening longer than that. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of stuff that I wasn't able to tap into that's eventually gonna go into a book. So yeah, I dedicated 30 to 40 minutes every single day that summer. I sat down and just wrote what I thought come to my head. I would meditate right before it, and just some stories would just come popping out of my head. Like I have stories from when I was like 6 years old that I realized, yo, that's relevant. And so that's also
Mhm.
a point to me where it's like you'll never understand the full purpose of certain things that happen to your life until it happens. So
Mhm.
like there's so many things that happened in my life and I was like, yo, why is this happening to me? And
Yeah.
now I'm inspiring people to find their passion through these crazy stories that happened before. So yeah, that's how I created it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Um, it's funny that you had said that, like the stories from like when you were younger,
Hmm.
brings like it can be relevant to today's time, and that's very true because you can that could be a learning lesson of something that happened before that you can transition into now,
Hmm.
and it's very it's amazing. I already know this, but it's amazing that you already know that your target audience and your market they're not listening past a certain amount of time. So being able to know what they're looking for and being able to implement that into other content is a
I
smart
appreciate
man.
that.
You on the right track with
I appreciate that. Yeah.
it. So as far as for your podcast, do you like doing it by yourself or do you like having guests come on? And as far as for the future of your podcast, do you see it just being you just by yourself still as the co-host, or I mean as the host, or do you have anyone that you would do co-hosting with?
Nah, it's me. You know what I'm saying? It's at the root of Jamar. But the way I made the podcast, like what's crazy about this timing right now in terms of the podcast growth is the
Hmm.
2 styles of the podcast I have experience in. Doing it by myself, doing it where I'm the sole talker, and then having the guests. I don't really see me doing it any other way. Those are 2 ways. And so
Hmm.
I plan on like really indulging and having guests a lot and showing that because I feel like I always said like I don't care about how many views or listens I get to the first season
Hmm.
because this is gonna live forever. Like this
Yeah.
is gonna be the staple of root of everything. So when somebody comes to my page or when somebody talks to me, I'm like, don't watch the other ones. Go back to when I was how old was I? 20 years old, 19 years old, and I made this podcast.
Hmm.
Watch those 10 steps. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a long-term investment for me. It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. And so I don't know when I'll come out with another season where it's like that. If
Hmm.
it comes to me, it comes to me. Like season 1 of the podcast literally was just like I felt like a vessel and it just came to me. And
Hmm.
so if I have another I need to make a whole season on this. Like if I need to make a season on, I think I've planned. I think when I was making this journal, I was making season 1. I didn't know about interviewing. I
Hmm.
was I set some groundworks for the season 2, but like for season 2 in that style. and it may be something like what to do after you get your passion, like how to stay consistent with it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like the first season is something so big that I just gotta let that breathe. You know what I mean? I gotta let
Mm-hmm.
it breathe for a while, and it might be like 3, 4 years till I come out to another one like that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's like one of those like I always tell people like I'm a podcaster, but I kind of look at it like albums. Like I look at it like I'm a rapper. Like I look,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like when you put out an album, if you listen to certain rappers or certain artists, you hear their music. Some just put out music and it's just a bunch of music together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the best artists are the ones who make it a piece of art. And so when I come out with another one like that, it's a piece of art. It's carefully, carefully made, and so it's all about timing with that one. But I'm loving the style I have with the guests. I want to keep doing that, but I want to say like the podcast isn't just me. I have a producer who does the editing, the filming, all of that stuff. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not just me doing it. I'm horrible with that. I'm actually in the process of trying to learn it so I can
Uh-huh.
have it. But I have a producer, and if you look at any of my content in the captions, her profile and her thing is on there. She's one of the best in the game, and so I want to make that clear. I'm not the only one, here. I have a producer who does all my editing for my Instagram videos, Instagram quotes, YouTube editing, everything. Literally everything you see is just me talking or me having an idea, and then she puts it into display.
That's what's up. And that's definitely appreciative of you to go ahead and give her flowers and shout her out and let her know that you appreciate her and everything that she does for you, because a lot of people, they like to say, oh, it's just me and me only, and not give credit when it's due. So that's definitely what's up. So what's your biggest goal for the Root of Everything? Like, I know you said you wanted to do podcasting and possibly motivational speaking. So do you see yourself doing both of those or just one of those in the long run, as far as for like your overall goal for your business and everything? Or do you see yourself doing like adding more things to it?
Um, I feel as though motivational speaking can be partially through root of everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
I partially see, and especially who I want to talk to. Like I really look at a lot of things as younger Jamar. Like, what would I need to hear? And so,
Mm-hmm.
I really do think I could build a program and a speaking, brand through root of everything to literally go to schools, especially high school students, even middle school students. This is how you can this is what passion is,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how you can find it. I think this is a crucial thing to hear in that ninth grade to 12th grade head. Like it's a crucial thing. I believe, season one already set the groundwork. Like that's what's amazing. I set the groundworks for it. And so I think I could really develop speaking through it of everything. I also feel like I can go off on other subjects. I think that's where I build my brand outside of root of everything. It's speaking motivationally more generally on different subjects. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to passion, I feel like I can use the brand of root of everything to speak to kids. Personally, I even have another business I'm starting. Like
Mm-hmm.
I plan on doing root of everything, which I believe is going to change the world. I really do. And there's some like if you think the idea of going to kids, going to people, displaying I have other ideas that I believe are going to be groundbreaking that I'm planning on implementing this year that I think is really going to take off. And so I plan on doing some really big things, root of everything, and just showing some real creative content that's going to inspire the world. I think like I feel it this year, but then also I want to develop as a motivational speaker. That's something that's a goal after I graduate
Mm-hmm.
because I don't feel like that's in my realm right now. I'm in the realm of just learning it right now. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I graduate, I want that to be another thing I can tap into and actually put into action. I'm putting the podcast into action. I'm putting my other business into action right now. And I'm big on not having too much on your plate at once. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so right now it's podcast, it's school, and it's I also started another business with it's gonna be a sports apparel brand that I'm creating on Amazon, and I learned that throughout the summer too. So right now
Mm-hmm.
it's probably gonna when I graduate, I want to focus on root of everything, number one over anything, and then motivational speaking and my sports apparel brand. And I think that's what root of Jamar is. Those three things really is what I want to do, and I'm always open to new things. I'm so young, so much can happen.
Definitely. That's definitely true. And that's good that you have like all of your ideas just unlimited flowing and you just don't have like a bar to where you want to just stop in just one particular area. So I like that you keeping an open mind and everything that you want to do. So you were saying for your podcast that you consider it as an art.
Hmm.
I really like that idea, like how you were saying, like you're only going to do that as like one every so often. Like, what made you come up with that idea to only release it? Like you were saying, like how artists they'll put out music and then they'll only do just one. Like, what made you come up? How did you come up with that idea? Because that is super smart. Because once you start doing that, you're really going you need to get that trademark or patent, one of the two, if you
For what?
can,
For
because
what?
like how you release your podcast
Oh, okay.
only just every other so often, because podcasts now everyone they're releasing an episode either every week,
Mm-mm.
um every day, like that's the thing. It's like kind of like radio, but no one has ever came out with the idea of, okay, I'm going to release a podcast every 6 months. Like that like builds the momentum, especially if you're giving out valuable
Mm-mm.
content. So like, what made you come up with that idea, or how did you come up with that idea?
So first off, this is the biggest advice when anybody asks me, and I get this a lot on campus a lot. Yo, Jamar, how do you, like, what should I think about if I want to do a podcast?
Hmm.
First off, if you're a student, a college student, doing a podcast every week is exhausting. And another thing about doing a podcast every week, I'm a firm believer. If you're doing a podcast every week and it's by yourself, you're not like with somebody else, you almost have to base it off current events. Like you're gonna
Hmm.
run out of things to talk about.
Yeah.
And so I didn't, and I also understand my time. Like I would go insane if I had to drop a podcast every week. And another thing is like you don't always have to go with the industry. Like I was like, no, I can't. First of all, I can't do that, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm only
Hmm.
like like I always tell people, you have to find a pace that works for you that you can go on forever. I actually have a reel on this page right here where I was like, the smartest people in the world find a pace they can keep on forever. The people who aren't in the 1%, aren't the great people, are the ones who sprint for a month or whatever and quit. I'm not gonna sprint for a month and quit.
Hmm.
I'm all long game. If you ever hear me talk about goals, it's all long game. It's not 2 years, not 3 years. It's 50 years. You know what I mean? And so when I looked at the podcast, first when it came to making season one, it was a emotional experience. It
Hmm.
was, at moments I felt like this is too much for me. Like I felt like I was almost literally going to the root of everything of myself and like carving it out for everybody. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I just feel like this is a special thing to go through. I can't put myself through this too often. You know what I mean? Not that I didn't love it, but it was a lot for me. And it would be easier for me to do it, in the future because I know the
Hmm.
experience. But it was just like, Jamar, like this is a lot, and this is really coming from, like, I'm telling you, when I made this podcast, it was essentially writing a book, and I
Hmm.
want to take everything that seriously. And I always believe it's better to create great content than to constantly give watered down content. And what's amazing about social media and these things these days is if you create a podcast, you have unlimited content. Like you
Yeah.
have unlimited content. And so while I may not be posting on YouTube every week like they say you should, I am
Hmm.
posting 5 days a week during the week on my Instagram that is constantly growing. I'm growing. I went from 160 followers the beginning of this summer to 1,000, almost 50 now. So that's about 4 months, and I grew like 900 followers because I was just taking clips out of the podcast and
Hmm.
putting them on Instagram. Now, did I do some more strategic things with social media? Yes, but you can be consistent with something you already posted. You see what I'm saying? So my
Yeah.
podcast, all I do after the season's over is sit down every day and watch 5 minutes of my podcast and take out 2 or 3 clips from those 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And that's it. Like my Instagram page is growing from something I did months ago. And so I just want everybody, especially that wants to start a podcast, like understand it's not just posting it on podcast platforms. It's no taking those clips and putting them somewhere. That's where you're gonna really grow. Because if you put a podcast on Apple Podcasts, there's no algorithm to get that to other people. There's no algorithm to get it to other people. To get
Hmm.
your podcast to other people It's through TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all these other places. And so don't put your chips all in that when the only way to really grow on those is to get people to get on there from other places.
Mm-hmm.
Post your content on there. Do as much as you can, like an album. That's my biggest advice if you have a lot of stuff to do. If you're doing a current event based or you with somebody else, do it every week. You can do that because it's just flowing. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it on a specific topic, treat it like an album and then post that content on Instagram and watch yourself grow. And then I just tell people, oh, you love the content? Go to YouTube. And then they watch the whole thing.
Right. Lead them right into the good old
Yeah,
funnel. Definitely.
exactly.
Come on. I appreciate that good old game that you just gave because that
Yeah,
was good content game that a lot of people don't know how
yeah,
you can take one good piece and chop it up into multiple millions. So
exactly.
definitely. So how did you get into your mindset? Like,
Mm.
since you're so, and it's nothing wrong with being young, but there's just, you're in college. So college is, I'm fun, I'm having fun, doing my work, everything like that. But, your mindset is different. So have you always been in that mindset of, passion and, being on top of your game? Or did that come later on in life once you, got into the realms of finding yourself?
Um, I based some of this on I was always the smallest kid when I played sports. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
short, like short, but I gave it my all. And that's just what it was. Like I always gave it my all. Like I was the shortest kid on the court, but I was out rebounding, out hustling every kid. So first, I
Mm-hmm.
always had a mentality of like I'm gonna work harder than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, I have a great father, and he always, sometimes he's annoying like all fathers, but he gave me a lot of like nuggets that I didn't implement immediately, and then I implemented them later. And so he
Mm-hmm.
always was like, Jamar, and I'm a big, when I was little, I was a big, like, half, I don't want to say what my dad actually says, but I always did things halfway.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know if my
I get
dad
what
adds
you're
a cuss
saying.
word at the end, but
Yeah.
he always like, don't halfway do things. And I'm always
Mm-hmm.
like, ah. Like, I remember a specific moment in school, a teacher just said, write something on this. Just give me a paper and write something on this. That's a homework assignment. Everybody came to school with like 2, 3 paragraphs. I came to school with one sentence. And my dad was like, see, you always do things halfway. And so throughout my whole life, I kept doing it halfway, but then I started to just kind of remember it. And that's just one of the examples of the things my dad told me. Shoot, I was working at 14 years old. He just told me to get a job. And I always developed this hustling mindset to just work hard. But
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the moment that changed it for me was not like I figured out how to work hard. That's something we're all gonna have to figure out if you want to be successful in any realm. But are you
Mm-hmm.
gonna be able to discipline yourself to work hard without somebody telling you? That's the game changer. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
always like, you tell me what to do, I promise you I'm gonna work harder than everybody else. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the mindset you need for the 9 to 5 lifestyle. You're gonna be the greatest person. You can move up the ranks in 9 to 5 if you can do what people says and do it better than anybody. But as an entrepreneur, it's who's gonna work the hardest without anybody telling them. And
Yeah.
when I
That's
figured
all
that
facts.
out, ooh, and I give that to my producer who helped me because last year when we are doing rid of everything, we were posted on podcast platforms and stuff, but we weren't as consistent on Instagram. And she was like making it, but I wasn't like sitting down every day finding clips. I was more doing things last minute, and so she kind of ignited a flame in me. It was like, yo, I'm just chilling. Like I gotta work hard. I gotta discipline myself. And so I started
Mm-hmm.
doing it. I wasn't all the way there yet, but man, this summer I disciplined myself, and it's a whole new game. And so I think my mindset shifted literally 6 months ago, and I literally
Mm-hmm.
just said like I have a to-do list, and my to-do list is literally split in half. One side are things that are getting done every single day, no matter what. The other side are random things that pop up during the day. And when I committed myself to that left side, like I might not get everything done on the right side, it just pops up. When I committed myself to certain things, like it was brushing my teeth, like it was getting up and taking a shower, like it was breathing, that's when it was a game changer. And discipline is a hard thing to do because we're comfortable in whatever we're comfortable in. But you have
Mm-hmm.
to start making the uncomfortable comfortable. And that's what I did. I disciplined myself, and that was a game changer. So that was just 4 months ago, and it's a game changer.
Ooh, that's amazing. Look, you speaking to me as well because that's that's one thing that I can definitely say that is a fault of mine. Like the discipline, self discipline is just I could have it, but sometimes it's a little shaky. So,
Hmm.
whew. So with that being said, do you have any steps or regimens that you utilize to help you stay on track as far as for your discipline, and also any steps that you may use to help find your passion that you would, what steps would you give to someone else who said, hey, Jamar, I need to find my passion? What would you tell them?
So first off, on discipline, I think you have to be doing something, and this kind of backwards answering the question, but
It's
I'll
cool.
get to why I'll get to how to find your passion, but you have to do something that you love doing regardless of the results. And I think that's
Hmm.
kind of my definition of passion. I'm not saying so. I think there's a different definition for everyone, but what do you generally like doing regardless of the results? And so if you're doing something and you're fixating your happiness off of the results, it's going to be very hard to stay disciplined because your motivation is going to fluctuate off of the results. And the problem with
Hmm.
results is, yes, you can work hard, but there are some things just out of your control. There's some things
Yeah.
out of your control. And so when you're fixating off the results, it's just not going to happen. It's going to be hard to stay disciplined because the results are always going to change. And so
Hmm.
that's why you have to find your passion, because when you love something, regardless of the results, you're going to stay consistent. And then therefore you're going to have long-term success because you're not looking at the results. And I believe when you're passionate and you're disciplined, then you're going to see results because, there's multiplication. There's this momentum that happens when you're consistent with something. But when it comes to finding your passion and how to actually get to that point I was just talking about, my first step is always you have to decide to be yourself regardless, even if you don't know what it is yet. Like you
Hmm.
have to be able to just be comfortable in your skin. It's not going to happen 100% to this day. I'm looking around like, what does that person think of me right now? Like I'm being honest, but you have to at least go into life with the mindset, I'm going to try my best to be who I am. You have to go in with that mindset. And then the second step is to think differently. You have to be able to look at different things in your life and figure out what they are, not just for base level. And so, example of that is, okay, I like playing baseball. I love playing baseball. Why? Ask why with everything in your life. So I like playing
Hmm.
baseball, or maybe I just like being competitive. And maybe it's not just sports. I just like being competitive in general. Oh shoot, I played this other sport and I liked it. Maybe the connection between the two is just being competitive. Now I can be competitive in this different realm and I have the same feeling. I don't need to grab a glove and play baseball. So when you
Hmm.
start breaking things down and just asking why, that's what's gonna lead you closer to your passion. So I call it the infinity decimal. I'm a nerd about it. But like if you ever cut something in half, like mathematically, you can never get to zero. You can continuously cut something and you keep zooming in, it's never going to actually reach zero. And so what I tell people is if you can practice like the infinity decimal and just cutting things in half and looking at this journal and like, okay, this journal is here. This came from a tree and then this tree came from a seed. And if you can practice things in your life, okay, I like this and then I like this because of this and I like this because of this and I like this because of this. You can make connections to other things in your life. You can get closer to your root of everything. So those
Hmm.
are like the two first. Like if you were to listen to my season, those are the first two steps: is being yourself and being able to think differently and to like really go into the depths of things and understanding really why. Like I think people's whole lives are dedicated to things they never even thought thoroughly into. Like,
Yeah.
why do I like doing this?
Hmm.
Oh shoot, that's why. And then they could
Hmm.
they could possibly do something different. Like there's a lot of people like, nah, that ain't me. I'm just a football player. Why do you like playing football? Like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So those are my first two steps that like it's essential. Like if you don't do those two things, and then the last one I'll say is, and this is probably the most important, you have to believe your passion's out there. Like if you don't believe it's out there, and that's with anything in life, if you don't believe that success is possible for you, if you don't believe a partner is out there for you, if you don't believe anything is possible, I promise you it's gonna be staring you right in the face and you're not gonna see it because you already decided it's not there. So
Yeah.
those are some nuggets. That's what I got to find your passion.
Yes, I like that. Look, in the future, you might need to create your little course on,
I know.
the passion,
I know. I
the
know.
steps to passion or something, because that was just truly amazing how everything was able to just come and flow out of you. And that shows that you are truly passionate about helping other people find their passion. So yeah, that's definitely what's up. And it's
I
so
appreciate it.
amazing. Like I was telling Vlad last week,
Hmm.
like it's just, I'm sorry, the week before, it's amazing just to see you young African American kings like really out here doing it and doing it well. Like, that's just something that I'm just super excited. And I was telling him, like, once I was just seeing all of you guys, I was just like, I have to interview you all, like, because
Mm-hmm.
the whole purpose of this segment is to help adults, in a sense, and
Mm-hmm.
adult college students, in a sense, like you, and graduates on beyond, to get into that space of, if you want to start a business, start your business. And if there's college students or individuals who are not even in college yet doing it, why can you not do it? So it was just like, I have to get them on here. So this could be just them with whatever they're doing, regardless if they're a motivational speaker, if they have a business that they're actually selling something. This is motivation for someone older to say, hey, you can do it as well. Just make sure put in the work and everything like that. So super proud of you, super excited
Thank
for
you so
you.
much.
I already know everything is definitely going to be on the up and up for all of you guys. This is just amazing. And just for everything to just be so fluently just comes off like it's nothing. It's just, you really own your stuff. You already know who it is, who you serve, everything. So I really hands down to y'all. Like, y'all, even though I'm a little bit older than y'all, I just feel like that big sister who just like, oh my gosh, like, it's just amazing to see y'all doing y'all thing with everything that you guys are doing. So can you let us know how we can get in contact with you? I know you run the Root of Jamar and the Root of Everything, but if they want to reach out to you, which would be the best page, and how can we get to the podcast?
Yeah, so if you want to reach out to me on anything related to passion, if you have any questions on finding your passion, hit me up on Root of Everything. If you just have general questions about me or whatever it is, go to Root of Jamal. That's me. That's like my personal page. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not all motivational speaking. I'll post some jokey jokes on there too. Like I'm just myself on there. But Root of Everything is strictly like passion, passionate people, inspiring people. So tap it. You can ask me questions on either one. I don't care. I'm a respond. So
Mm-hmm.
but if you're trying to watch the podcast, you can go to this page and go to the link in the bio, and it's our website, and it has all the podcast platforms. You can click either one. I really would love if you went to YouTube, because those are the full episodes. Obviously, if I'm going to these people's places and I'm doing what they do, it's
Mm-hmm.
visual. So the first 10 minutes of the second season is all action based, and then it's the interview. So those are 30 minutes. But if you just want the interviews, they're on the podcast platforms. And if you don't want to click the link in the bio, you can just go to anyone and just search Root of Everything. There's nobody with that name out there. We're original. And so
Yeah.
just search us up. We're there. And also we have blogs on my website. So if you
Mm.
want to like go and see what I like I give little insights about like the episodes, like y'all didn't see it in the video, but at 4 a.m. we was doing this and blah blah blah. So y'all
Mm-hmm.
want to see even more insight, go there. Instagram, like, if you, more than anything, just follow us on Instagram. We're posting all the clips. You're going to be convinced to watch the podcast after following for a week. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And so just tap in there. And then if you want to see any of my other endeavors that I'm doing with school, my other businesses, motivational speaking, other podcasts that I'm doing, everything else, go to Root of Jamal.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, you guys heard it best from him. Everything that you need to know. I appreciate you for joining me today on this live, giving us this good information, these good gems on how to find our passion. And in closing, can you give us a word of motivation?
Word of motivation. Dang, on the spot. I've been there. Word of motivation.
Uh-oh.
What did I post? I posted today on the page. I said, your possibilities rely on your beliefs. And I just want anybody out there to
Mm,
understand that whatever's in this world, me and CoachLay speaking on this Instagram, at one time it wasn't possible. At one time, somebody
that's
would
right.
say, "You can talk on the phone from miles away. That's impossible. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
What is electricity?" Somebody had to be stupid enough to say no, it's possible. And I'm big on telling
Mm,
people be stupid. I was stupid enough to do the podcast. I had one of the dudes I interviewed, and if y'all want to check it out, I do IG lives with all the guests to give even more content on them. But he was like, Jamar, you
mm-hmm.
really put yourself out there and just did it. And I was like, yeah, I was just being stupid. Like, I want everybody to be stupid enough to believe in whatever crazy dreams you are, because until you believe in it,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be able to do it. And so go out there, and whatever you're passionate about, whatever you want to be, believe in it with all your heart, and I promise you the rest will flow. I promise you. I was there at times where I was like, it's not possible, Jamar. It's not possible. There's no way you can do this. This is so hard. Everybody's counting you out. I was
Mm.
posting videos on my Instagram and people were laughing at me. And I said, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to be stupid and I'm going to believe anyway. And now I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I have people from all over the globe. I got people in different countries texting me, you're such an inspiration to me. You helped me so
Mm.
much. I found my passion. I have people saying, I love this episode so much. It touched me. It won't be possible. You won't be able to see what the results of your passion or your dreams are unless you put them to action and believe in them. So I just want you so bad to go out there and do it and understand the worst thing you can ever live with isn't fear. It isn't being scared to do something. It's regret for the rest of your life. Fear only lasts for a little bit. You just have to embrace it. But when you regret something, when you're sitting there and not doing it and your grandkids are asking, hey, Jamar, did you ever try Root of Everything? No, I didn't want to. I was scared. How's that going to
Mm.
feel? And so I just want
Woo.
everybody to just believe in it and just understand regret is the scariest thing in the world.
Mm. Well, you said that. Look,
Mm-hmm.
you was like, oh, not on the spot. You did that perfectly. So
Appreciate it.
look, that was amazing. I'm not even going to talk no more. I'm just going to let that sizzle in everybody's spirit. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate everything that you came and provided for us today. And I just wish you much success on all of your endeavors. Okay.
Thank you for having me so much. I really
You are
appreciate it.
so welcome. So welcome. Have a good week. Okay.
You too. Thank you, everybody who
Thank
watched.
you. Bye bye. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good week.